Greetings from a very wintry northeast of England, but the good news is it's always summer at High Fell. Welcome to the first video of 2024. Something a little bit different this time. You have a commentary, you lucky people, and I thought we'd look at some of the details and developments that have taken place on the layout recently. So during the Christmas period, extra scenic boards were added to the centre section here, and these woods have grown up alongside the viaduct. A few people have asked about trees. I've put some details on how I make trees on the Hornby forum on the TT 120 section. If you look on the High Fell thread, you'll find the pictures there. But again, people have said, oh, would you do a video? Well, it shouldn't be too hard to do, but I have got a confession to make. This is the first time I've ever done any kind of scenic work on a model railway. So 40 years or so of looking at the magazines and poring over the brochures. This is actually the first time. So playing with plaster of Paris, trees, scenic details, static grass. Quite a steep learning curve, but I'm really enjoying it, and I hope other modelers really get involved in it as well. It's a really fun part, and you do start paying attention to how things look in nature as well. Another new addition, just very recently added, this pair of Hawker Hunter jets. They're on a low-level training mission. Again, just something to add another dimension to the detail on the layout. Okay, details, let's have a little look. So I really enjoy these Hornby resin buildings. I think they're really good quality and a great place to start. You don't have to do anything to them, but they're just begging for some extra detail. So I've added a little bit of extra weathering. Stuff always gets dirty around stations. You'll notice there's illumination and the door's open. So I cut the door open using a razor saw. Good idea to wear a mask when you're cutting anything like resin or wood, so you're not breathing the dust in. And then I created a little bit of an interior for it. So there's a map on the wall. That's the northeast region. It would have been in enamel tiles in its day. Benches. We have the ladies' waiting room area down here. You just see through the window. There's the clock and a fireplace. Remember, it's summer, so the fire's not on. It's up in the north. We're not going to waste money. Then we've also got some detail going in. You can just see through this central window there. Fireplace, clock, some cupboards, the hatch where the tickets would be dispensed from. I spent ages looking online to try and find some reference material for interiors of station buildings. And the problem is, so many of the old station buildings are now someone's house. So all you get is their fancy furniture. And then it turns out, up the road, at Beamish Museum, they have the station building, which is not massively dissimilar from this, from Rowley, which is up on the Durham Dales there. And anyway, it's been moved stone by stone. So I spent a few hours up there taking some pictures and just getting a general feel. And that was my inspiration for how to do an interior. Something also to mention, when you're putting lighting in any of these resin buildings, you will need to put an undercoat on the inside walls just to stop the light bleed through. The resin's quite thick, but it does transmit some light, and so to prevent that, just lay down a little bit of paint on there and then you're good to go. Also, a few other details: fire buckets, obviously benches. The station cat is there, that's Nigel. The post van's here, that's actually a repainted Oxford die-cast BR van. I still don't think their Royal Mail vans are out yet, but anyway, there's mine. The transfer on the side, a little bit big. A friend of mine managed to find that online. It's for people who are doing restorations of Matchbox models, and the very old Matchbox toy used to be quite small. It's a bit big, but it's certainly way better than I could have actually painted freehand, so really pleased with that. And again, I think with all of these items, just adding extra little details, putting your own mark on it. So the brass plaque on the post box, some glazing and illumination in the telephone box, also adding the telephone sign on the tops there. A lot of people always ask me about my lights, because I just think adding lighting to a layout, whether it be street lights, building lights, always makes it come alive. And so these are actually N scale models sold by a company called Eve Model, Chinese company, and they advertise on Amazon, I think also on eBay. If you measure up what you need and pass it over to your layout, you will soon find that the N gauge stuff is actually probably better suited to TT120. The light signals, they actually work in conjunction with the point, so when the point's against you, the red light will show, and it's just all run from the output on some DCC Concepts ADSX decoders. Signal box, again, very basic interior. The lever arms are made of spaghetti, painted, stuck into a roll of black tack, and it just gives the impression of something that's going on inside. Electrical cabinet on the outside. A loco that's not been seen on any of the previous videos, because that's how long it is since I've actually done a video, is my OH Hunter, which is in black. I was tempted to wait and see if Hornby launched early liveries, and they have actually just announced the green one, but I've had this for a while now. So originally it was blue. I took the wasp stripes off the end because that paint seems to react with anything that you put on top of it, and then painted it with some satin black. It's just acrylic, added appropriate transfers. They came from Railtech. The number is actually of one that was stationed actually at Tyne Dock, so that fits in with the layout really well. And then added some weathering, make it look like it's had a bit of a life. Runs a DCC decoder, which is a Zimo one, so quite small. I added some extra weight to my 08 to give it a little bit of extra traction, and it also has the lays, and I think it's referred to as a Kung Fu stay alive, and that gives it really good operating standards. The motors on these and the mechanism is fantastic, so it's well worth persevering and getting these running really well across point work. White metal kit, which is the water crane, but also added some realistic water just to give the impression that it's splashed about a bit. Also drop some down on the track. Again, try and add on all of my stock oil lights. These are the West Hill Wagon Works ones. I've kept off most of the locos apart from the 08 of doing any weathering until they're out of warranty, just so there's no issues on that. And even the lamps are not glued in, they're just held in place with tacky wax. So another building from the Hornby range, their good shed. Again, lovely model. It has some weathering done to it. I've put a loading platform inside, illuminated it. I've made this loading dock. That's just made with some leftover bits of card from various other kits. I use Metcalf N scale kit for the platforms, just with a little bit of boost underneath to get the height right, and they're good. Same again, these cottages are actually the Metcalf card N scale ones, half relief. Illuminated it, blocked off the various rooms inside so that the light doesn't come through all of the windows. Used some DAS modelling clay to make a pavement to go around the outside, and added some details. So we've got a collection of dogs all having a conference, and oblivious to the cat that's walking across the top of the wall. Looks like someone's going to get a thick ear there off their mother because they've left the back door of the gate open. And there's the bins. I just find all of these little extra details are just fun to add and not particularly expensive. A lot of it you can do for free. Repainted the Scammell mechanical horses they would have been quite old by the time of this era at High Fell. It's around about the mid-60s. So they've had a coat of an ex-war green and then been gruied up to look like they've been handed down from one of the more important stations, who would of course by now have their scarabs to play with. So there we are, some of the details here on High Fell. Always happy to answer any questions on how I've done stuff. The next plan is to make a video doing some details on the dock scene, which I'm just going to briefly show you along here. I don't want to make the videos go on for too long, but again, there's a few details on there on how I did it. Some of you will know that I was very, very lucky to get a second place in the Hornby TT 120 diorama challenge. Particularly pleasing, as I say, because I've never done any kind of scenic work previously. It is quite a lot of hours of work, but I find it's very good for me and does everything I need. As I say, the next video should be on St James's Quay, and I plan to possibly do some details on weathering, installing lighting. Somebody was actually asking, and I do promise I will do this, is how I put the lighting in my coaches. So for a little bit of magic, there we go. I'm just going to turn the lights down so you can see. So these are battery powered, very easy to fit, minimal soldering, and you can set it up so it works from what's called a latching reed switch. So you just need something magnetic, and you just hear it click there and it'll turn the lights on and off. It's a lot easier than trying to make contacts on the wheels. There's plenty of space in these coaches to get it. You do need to take a toilet wall out, but as I say, I'll get round to doing a video showing how I did that, and maybe something on how I do my rough and ready weathering. So for now, that is all from High Fell. I hope you're all going to keep warm and get plenty of modelling done, and we shall see you on the next video.